What's up, guys? Welcome to the Trail & Co installation video for our center console Molle. Today we're going to be installing our center and bridge on this Toyota 5th Gen 4Runner. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so here's what you're going to get in the box when you order our panels. Obviously you got the panels themselves. You're going to get your hardware. The hardware you get is going to depend on whether or not you order the center console bridge, and it's also going to depend on whether or not you chose the disassembly free option or the riv nut option. Today we're going to be doing the riv nut install, but we'll explain how you're going to do it if you're doing the other install as well. You're also going to need a 10mm ratchet, a 5/32 Allen key. If you're going to be installing the name tag, and we keep this separate in case anyone doesn't want to put it on for whatever reason, but if you're going to be installing the name tag, you need your rivet gun, blue tape, a Sharpie. If you're doing the riv nut installation, you're going to need a drill with a 23/64 drill bit. If you don't have that size, that's all right. You can use a 3/8 too. So on our site, when you place an order for these panels, you're going to have two options. You're going to have disassembly free, and that's going to have riv nuts. And then you're going to have disassembly required, and that's going to be through bolts. That install choice is just kind of based on your preference. If you don't want to take apart the center console, pick the riv nut option. You will have to buy a riv nut tool. If you don't have one already, that's going to be $30-40 bucks. In our opinion, well worth it. It's a great tool to have. If you prefer the more standard install with the through bolts, you'll get nylon lock nuts with the kit, and you'll have to take apart the center console. So today we're going to be doing the riv nut version of this install, but we're going to explain along the way what you'll have to do if you're doing it the other way. So the first thing you're going to want to do is mark out your holes where you're going to drill into the center console. That's what the blue tape is for. So we'll cover this with blue tape, we'll hold up our panel, we'll mark our holes. Alright, so now they're all taped up, we're going to hold up our panel, the center console, and we're going to mark our drill holes. So when you're lining this up, you're going to want to make sure you can see this line here in the trim. It's covered by some of this tape, but you can see where this bezel meets here. That line is important, so make sure you can see that. You're going to hold your panel up. You're going to line up the top of the panel with that line there, and then you're going to line up the top left edge of the panel pretty much about a 1/4 inch from the bottom of the dashboard. Alright, so once you have your panel lined up, you're going to mark through the mounting holes. The mounting holes are each of the holes that are kind of off of the grid here. So this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. And then you get 2 more on the left. And that's it. So in total, you should have 6 holes ready to drill. So at this point, the next step is going to change depending on whether or not you pick the riv nuts or the through bolts. If you pick the riv nuts, you're going to want to grab your 23/64 drill bit. If you don't have 23/64, the 3/8 will work just fine. And we're going to drill the holes with the 23/64. If you chose the through bolt option, you're going to want to grab a 1/4 inch drill bit. If you accidentally use the bigger drill bit, obviously your holes are going to be too big. So 1/4 inch if you chose through bolts, 23/64 or 3/8 if you chose riv nuts. And the main thing you want to watch out for when you're drilling these holes is that you want to stop as soon as you break through the plastic trim. You don't want to go any deeper. You don't want to hit anything that we're not supposed to drill through. Alright, so now that our holes are drilled, we're going to take our tape off. If you chose through bolts, at this point you're going to have to take apart the center console. It is really easy. We're not going to do it here, but basically you pull off the trim on either side that has your temperature controls, pop that out. There's a screw down here that you'll have to take out from down here. And then this whole plastic bezel will pop out. You may need to remove a bolt over here depending on if you can get in there to get our screws in or not. So the next thing you're going to do, take your riv nuts, put them in these holes, take your riv nut tool, and we're going to start installing these. Now, we really highly recommend before you do this, do a practice riv nut if you've never done one before. This tool does take a little bit of adjustment to make sure you get a really tight crimp. You want it crimped tightly because if it's not, this could spin in this hole and then you're not going to be able to get it out, and that's a big pain. So do a practice one first, but once you're ready, come over here and you can start doing your riv nuts. Alright guys, once your riv nuts are done, we're going to go ahead and put our panel on. Just FYI, the install for the opposite side is exactly the same. So so we don't need to show you guys. We do prefer the rib nuts. We think it's a much cleaner install. You're not left with bare holes in the side of your trim should you ever want to take the panel. So from here it's pretty simple. We're going to locate our panel. We're going to grab plastic spacers and our bolts, and then one at a time we're just going to start threading them in. If you didn't order the equipment bridge with your panels, this video ends here for you. Your panel's ready to rock, ready to attach whatever Molle accessories you want, bags, pouches, flashlight, you name it. Also, goes without saying, if you use the through bolt option, at this point you're gonna have to tighten up all the nuts and then put your center console back together. So, pretty simple. If you did order the equipment bridge, keep watching, we're gonna install that next. So at this point you got both your panels installed. Now we're gonna go ahead and install the equipment bridge. Now I just want to point out, the way we do our panels, you don't need to have both panels in order to install the equipment bridge. If you wanted the equipment bridge in just the driver panel or just the passenger panel, you can do that. You would just have to drill holes and then use spacers instead of connecting the bridge directly to the panel. So this part's real easy. You're gonna put your panel in place. We supply the hardware. This is just more hex bolts and nylon lock nuts. You'll put your nuts and bolts through here. You'll slide the bridge to the position you want, and then you'll tighten it down. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Quick trick. It is a little tricky to get the nut behind the panel, hold it in place while you run your bolt in. So quick trick, if you use a pair of needle nose pliers, you could use that to run that in there. This step's also easier with a buddy, but it's not too bad by yourself either. Alright, once you get all your bolts and your nuts started, now you're going to want to position the bridge wherever you like it best. If you know you're going to be putting something up here specific, like a radio, maybe now's a good time to put it on and kind of see where it fits and make sure you have enough room. We're just going to install this as tight as possible up to the 4Runner dashboard. Alright guys, that's it. Your install is done. Molle's ready to mount whatever you want, flashlights, radios, walkies, the choice is yours. Thanks for checking us out. Give us a follow on Instagram at @trail-end-co. Check out our website, trail-co.com, if you want any of this good stuff, and see you next time.